Uh, Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Straight Couch Talk podcast with Rachael, Kulei, and Erik Castillo. And tonight we are going to talk about our engagement.
Mhm.
um, so Erik asked me to marry him on Christmas Eve, and I said yes. And so I'm going to kind of tell you the story of what happened and kind of a little bit of, um, in a nutshell, about my family and what we do for Christmas Eve and things like that. So we have my parents' best friends, the Watts. Every year since I was a little girl, with their kids and other families. We get together every Christmas Eve and we pick a culture from around the world, and everyone dresses up in that culture. And then we bring that food from that culture and we celebrate Christmas in different cultures. And then we put on these nativity scene um, skit. Uh, it's really fun. Um, so we put on this whole nativity show type thing, and everybody gets involved, and we sing and things like that and whatnot. So we've been doing this for 30 years, and couple years ago, um, Shauna, she passed away from cancer, and then shortly after that, my grandmother passed away. And so the past couple years, Christmas has been very difficult and challenging for me and for my family. And then not only that, um, uh, Christmas for me, since I think the last like really good Christmas I had was when I was 11 years old, 12 years old, before I was raped. Because I was raped on the 21st of December. So, right before Christmas, when I was in eighth grade. And so every year, I've dealt with um, severe PTSD and all these traumas and things like that from that. And so I've been working on this healing and things like that. So uh, this year, because of COVID and things like that, it kind of limited, distancing and, well, being with family and the friends and things like that. And so we only did our immediate family for Christmas Eve. And this year, um, my mom messaged me and she was like, "All right, this year we're we're having the guys wear dresses, and the girls, the females, we're all the women. We're gonna be dressing up as the male, and it's gonna be like we're going to prom type thing. So everybody's really like dressing up." And I told Erik, started laughing, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, mom's gonna put you in a dress." And he was like, "Are you serious?" He was like, "I'm gonna have to put a dress on." He goes, "I'm not a white guy." He goes, "I'm Cuban. I don't wear dresses." And he's like, "I don't." What did he say? Oh, he's like, "Oh, Tyler." He goes, "I'm not Tyler," because my brother-in-law one year, he and my sister he put on her Santa baby outfit, and she put on the Santa Claus outfit, and they did this little skit thing video. It was hilarious. And so, but he was really flaunting himself around in this Santa baby dress. And but it was so cute. And but he was okay with it. It was funny. And so uh Erik knows the story, and so he's like, I'm not Tyler. I'm not doing, like, no, like, but fine. He's gonna be a good sport about it. And so then later on, my mom messages me. She talks to me. She goes, "Okay, we're gonna change this." She goes, we're going to, I'm going to have you sneak his uniform over, and we're going to make him think that he's going to wear a dress, but really when you guys get over here, he's going to put on his uniform, but we're going to make him think that he's wearing a dress. And so I'm like, all right. So it's Christmas Eve morning, afternoon ish or whatever. And my mom tells me this, and she's like, all right, I need you to bring his uniform over. And I'm like, all right. And I'm like, crap. Okay, how am I going to do this? I'm like, okay, Eric's here and we've got his son here. And I'm like, okay, they're in the living room. They were doing stuff and spending time together. And I was getting stuff ready for Christmas. And so I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? I got to be really sneaky. So I'm like, okay. So I'm looking in the bedroom. I'm like, all right, she didn't say what uniform. So I was just thinking his camos, I wasn't thinking his dress uniform. So I'm like, all right, his dress uniform or his camos. I'm like, all right, his pants are over there, his shirt's over here. And I was like, crap, his top's over in the other room. His shoes are in the other room, in the laundry room. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? I'm like, all right, we got to be ninja style. So I quietly open the door and I'm like listening and trying to hear where they're at. And I'm like, all right, they're both sitting in the living room. So I sneak around the corner, go in the other room, quietly open the closet door. And then Kenobi, the dog, he decides that he's going to poke his nose through, and opens the door. And I have some dream catchers on the back of the door. So it was all like banging the door a little bit. And I'm all trying to tell him to be quiet. And he's just kind of like looking at me, and I'm like, Kenobi, like, go away. Like, if you're seeing him, you can clearly see that he's looking at something, so it's gonna draw attention to me. So I'm like, go away. Like, I can't do that. Like, shh, you're giving it away. So then I'm like looking through everything, and then I see his dress uniform, and I'm like, should I grab that one? And then I'm like, I don't know, because I knew you took some of your, your award, your medallions and things off of it. And so I was unsure, and I was like, no, I don't know if it's all put together, and I don't want to like grab something wrong. And I was like, I'll just stick with the camo. So I grab it quickly, running back into the room, and I'm like, all right, got that done. I'm like, okay, now I got to get the shoes. And I'm like, what the heck am I going to put this in? So I'm like looking around in my room, and I have my big gym bag. And so I like grab my gym bag and I shove everything all quickly into the gym bag and close it. And I'm like, all right, okay, now we got to get the shoes. And so I'm like, I open the door and I start tiptoeing through the hallway, and I like peek around the corner, and I can see them sitting on the couch. And I'm like, okay. So then I go across the hall into the laundry room, and I grab his shoes, his boots. And so then I like peek back out, and I like quietly run back down the hallway and go back into the bedroom, shove them in the bag, zip it up. And I'm like, all right, cool. Got that done. And I'm like, all right, now how am I going to get the bag to the front door without Erik seeing? And then all of a sudden he's like, hey babe, I'm gonna shave my face. And I was like, cool. So he went into the bathroom and he shut the door, and I was like, perfect timing. And I was like, so I quickly grabbed the bag and ran it to the front door, snuck it behind so Jaden didn't see. So it was sitting behind the couch, and I had to go run and do some errands. So I quickly went to the bathroom. I was like, hey babe, I'm like, I gotta go. I'll see you later. I'll be back in a while. And so I was like, all right. So I go and I leave, and I grab the bag and I run out of the house, and I just drive off, and I call my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I did it. I got it out of the house. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. And I'm like, ninja style. And I'm like, oh, I'm so proud of myself that I was able to get it out. Meanwhile, on this side, go ahead and tell your story.
So I had already had this being planned for a while. I was talking to her sister, her mom, her dad, and I was already orchestrating this for about a couple of weeks before anything. So we were coming up with a plan on when and how, tossing between Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And it was kind of hard because there was no plan. So once Rachel told me the plan, I wrote her sister and I was like, okay, Jacqueline, we're going to do it on this day. We're doing Christmas Eve. She's like, sweet. And I go, this is the plan. What I need you to do. Um, I go, we're gonna get it over there and then get her just away so I can change and stuff. So as the days were coming up, we were kind of just getting things ready and stuff. And she was we were talking about Christmas gifts and things, and she had like an idea, so I had to completely throw her off. So I said that her Christmas gift was pressurized, and it had to be stable, and it needed a lot of space, and it had to be uh supported so it wouldn't burst. So she was like, what the hell? And so that completely threw her off of what she thought. So I was like, cool. And then I kept kind of going with that the next couple of days. And you was like, oh yeah, I'm just making sure your dad had to help me like contain it and stuff. And she's like, contain it. And I was like, yeah, we just had to make sure it was level and things like that. And I'm coming up with all these things to like make it some eccentric, like scientific creation or something, So that worked.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there and I'm like, because I had an idea. I was like, I even told my best friend, I was like, I think he's gonna propose to me on Christmas. And then all of a sudden we were standing outside my parents one day and he's all like said, oh yeah, I had to have your dad help me and pressurize your and stabilize and all this. And I'm like, what the hell? And I was like thinking in my head, I'm like my brain is like brainstorming, and I'm like, I literally looked at him and I was like, I don't know what the hell you got me. I'm not even gonna try to think about it anymore. I'm just gonna drive myself crazy. So I'm like, well, I have no idea what is going on, and I'm like, all right, engagement out the window, and I'm like, that's not happening. Pressurized? You can't pressure. What are you gonna put a bubble around my hand and put a ring on there and like pressure keep it pressurized forever? Like, how does that work? So I'm like, dang, I'm like, all right. So I just kind of like put it out of my mind. But then also too, I forgot to add is all of a sudden my mom told me too that because I kept asking her what I was gonna wear, and she's like, well, I have it for you. And then all of a sudden she's like, Rachel, I need you to put on one of your fancy gowns that you have and make sure you dress nice. And I'm like, that's the other thing that's threw me for a loop. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, okay, you have all the guys, my brother-in-law, my dad, they're going to be wearing dresses. My mom, my sister, my soon-to-be sister-in-law, she's going to work, they're going to be dressing like guys in suits or whatever. And I'm the only one wearing a dress. I still didn't put it together. And so I'm like, I'm the only one wearing a dress. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't get this. I'm like, but my family's weird. So whatever. I didn't put it past me. So
So as she's getting the stuff, like the uniform, I already knew. So I was sitting here kind of just being entertained and kind of just being distracted. So I kind of like, I didn't know when she was going to do it. So she did get it out of here. I didn't know when. So when she left, like she scurried out of here in a hurry, I go to the closet, right? And I go, let me check and see. So I look and she didn't grab the dress uniform. So I was like, shit. I was like, I texted her mom. I was like, Rochelle, she grabbed the wrong uniform. And she was like, it's okay, just bring it here. So I get it together real quick, get Jaded in the car, and we drive over there. And I was like, this is the one she was supposed to grab. And she was like, she was so proud of sneaking it out of the house. So I was like laughing at that. And I took it and I hung it in the coat rack. And then the ring was in this china that they have in this little thing. So it's like completely out of sight. The only one who knew it was there was her sister and her mom and her dad. So they knew where it was. And so that was staged and set up. So everything kind of was like there in place for the most part. So then we go drive and check out Christmas lights and stuff later on. That got a little hairy because my son was supposed to be back by 6 and he didn't make it back because we were on the Portland International Raceway. The time took a little longer. His mom was going all crazy because he wasn't back on time. And I kind of hoped that there would be a little bit of grace because I haven't seen him in 2 Christmases because the first time I was on probation and I couldn't talk to him. Then the second time, um, she canceled at the last minute because I wanted him to come with me and she said no. So I didn't have them for 2 Christmases. So I was hoping this time, something cool. That's like, okay, the raceway, get a little bit of grace there. None. So Rachel kind of got, shut down a little bit, and it kind of threw the vibe off. No one really enjoyed the lights too much, so I was trying to keep the tempo up in there, and Jaden was kind of worried, and he was not really into the lights until like the end, until like the crazy tunnel lights that were kind of going.
It was because she was hassling him the whole
Yeah,
time.
she was messaging him and stuff, and then she was messaging my phone like crazy. So it was just like the last time when we went miniature golfing. It was the same thing. So we kind of got through that, took him home, dropped him off, and we were kind of going back, and we were talking in the car. And at this point, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, so I was talking to Jacqueline on the way uh, back. Was I? No, because I was driving. I messaged her when we got back to the house and said, "Hey, I'm not sure because all the stuff that went down, and Rachel's kind of like in some funk right now, so I'm not sure." So she's like, "Well, we do it tomorrow." So then I started talking with Rachel, and I got her lifted up spirits a little more, and kind of got her motivated a little bit. And then she was looking at talking about, and I didn't find out about the formal dress until we got back here. So I was like, okay, wait a minute, I think it's back on again. So then she was like looking at dresses, and I kind of was like pumping her up a little bit. And then I messaged her sister. I was like, it's back on, game on. And I told her mom, I was like, it's back on again. Because I was telling them to talk to her to kind of lift her up a little bit, to kind of lift it. If not, then we'll do a Christmas Day. And then I'd have to create a whole new plan for Christmas Day. So, but it ended up being Christmas Eve, which was good. So she gets her dress on, formal, looks all nice, beautiful, wearing all these sparkly things on her everywhere, and looks really nice, beautiful dress. So we get over there, and we walk in, and she's like, her mom's like, okay, Erik, I got your dress upstairs. I was like, all right. And
I'm laughing because in my mind, I'm still thinking that he thinks he's going to go put a dress on, but yet I'm thinking that he's going to have the camo uniform up there for him to put on. So still in my mind, I'm still thinking like, this is funny because I'm like, here he is, like he thinks he's going to go put this dress on, and, he's going to find his uniform up there, but the joke was on me.
right. So after we got in the door, it was like full on distraction mode. Her mom was in there, her sister, her daughter Natalia, Tyler, the other her cousin Ty. They were all kind of like keeping her like distracted, so that way I can get the uniform upstairs. And mind you, I have like 3 dangling medallions as well that I was earned in the army. So I had to make sure that stuff wasn't jingling around too, right? So they pushed her over to the kitchen. Natalia is running with her over there. So I get in and I creep upstairs real fast. And I have her sister come with me because I have to clip some of the stuff because they're all the same length and you have to stack them. So stack the medallions. She had to go get a paper clip, and then she went and got the ring from the little thingy in the china. So we're doing that. Next thing you know, we'll get a text saying she's coming upstairs because the plan was to get her in her room because I wanted her to come downstairs because I was going to be by the tree. So, but it was funny because right when I had finished, her sister opens the door, and at the same time, the bedroom door opens, and we both jump, and it was her mom. And I kind of hold my stuff so it doesn't dingle around and jingle, and I go back, and then her sister's like, "Mom," and she goes like this, and then closes the door, So I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Is it good?" She's like, "Yeah." So then after that, I quietly hold all my stuff so it doesn't make noise. I go down the stairs, and I go by the tree, right? So I'm standing by the tree, and Jacqueline lets her mom know that, okay, everything's set. Now, this is where it gets even better because she comes down the stairs, and I'm like half hiding behind the tree, but not really. I made myself kind of noticeable, but not too much. So she comes down the stairs, doesn't see me, and goes to the left to the kitchen. So I was like, okay. So then everyone looks at me, all of them, mom, dad, sister, brother-in-law, everything, all look at me, and I was like, no, this is good. Tell her to come back. So then I step out, and when they're like, no, go back over here, and she comes back, and then she stops and does like this little crouch thing and goes, and then goes like this and puts her hands behind her back, and kind of just like creeps over like, what's happening? And I'm kind of just like standing there, and all my stuff, and the tree's there, and her sister had positioned the camera like on top of the piano, so that angle was going there. And then everything happened, and then I asked her, and She whispered yes. She didn't like scream it or anything. She was like, yes, So and I was like, yeah, and she's like, yes. So I had to make her say it twice because the one time I was like, wait, yes, and then uh she gets up and we kiss and stuff, and her mom walks up and goes, "Did she say yes?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she whispers, she goes, "Yeah!" and starts screaming. Um, it's on the video. We put it on our page too, on our profile, so you can see it. That's at like the very, very end. But if you look when she's coming across, you can see her crouch with her arms behind her back because she has no clue what's happening, no clue what's going on, and you can see like the very like ready to just the waterworks come down and everything. And I cried. I couldn't even really talk that loud because I was too filled with happiness and excitement. And not the fact that she would say no, because I knew she would say yeah, but it was just like the whole thing. It was just like I couldn't even compose it. Like I had to take a minute, like tears were coming down my face. And I think she still didn't even really know at that point until like towards like the last part. Because I made a gesture, I was like, and I had help from all of them over there. And then she turns around and looks at all of them, and she has this face like, all of you guys, her face is like,
Like, what? What's
you know.
happening?
And then of course I, got down and then asked her to marry me. She said yeah, and then I got up, and then that was it. That was the deal there.
I had no idea. And then when I was going down the stairs, because of how the positioning where you were standing in the peripheral, it just you blended in with the tree in a sense, with the shadow. And so I was just like, oh, okay, that's, in my eye, I was just like, okay, that's the tree. And I just didn't look past it. And I just went around the corner. And then when I was coming back, when I seen you standing there in your uniform, it was like all of a sudden, like, I don't know, you put me in attention. Because instantly I just like naturally put my hands behind my back, and I was just like, that's, so if you watch the little video, I'm like literally standing there with my hands behind my back and like in attention and walking towards him. And I it's just like you command that presence. And I just you're so handsome standing
Mm,
there. And I just so like it was just even more. But the thing that you said was that made me even more choke up was that you chose that night because you wanted to make happy memories for all of the bad ones that I've had over the past, half of my life. And that you wanted to create a new happy memory for me on that day. And I
mm,
think that's what really just like, um,
that's what did
yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
wanted to create happy stuff on there. I mean, happy memories and things because when you have, they call it exposure therapy. When you have a bunch of bad memories, you want to replace it with a good memory. Because more times than less, the good memory will supersede the bad. You can have 1,000 bad ones, but if you have one really awesome good one, all those bad ones don't matter. um, and everyone does it. You even do it subconsciously without knowing, because you see something or you do something, but then when you go through it again, and you have a good experience. You remember that versus all the bad. You go, oh yeah, all that bad stuff happened, but then I had a really fun time at this time, and that one supersedes. So that was my plan on why I wanted to do that. So that way, now when she thinks of Christmas Eve, she thinks of that. Not all the madness, not all the chaos and the trauma and the heartache and all the other crap. Same thing for me too, because my Christmas Eves weren't always the best all the time either. Either it was some issues, or I was deployed, I was in Afghanistan, I was in Iraq, I was somewhere. So it was kind of like a twofer.
That's
It was a twofer, two for one. So I wanted to create good memories for both of us on that day, so that way now whenever she thinks of Christmas Eve or whenever she sees that, she will remember that instead of everything that's bad that happened. So that's that's kind of how everything went down, and it was really nice. We hung out afterwards, and then
They had a little candlelight dinner set
yeah,
up for us.
that I didn't know. And that was kind of funny because we were obviously late. Um, so they got the food for us. They sat down, and then they closed the door to the kitchen. I was like, "What the hell?" Like, so like they lit a candle, they close it, and then I hear Jacqueline, "They're on an engagement date." I'm like, "What?" So that was kind of cool. So we kind of had like right there, we were sitting there for a little while, like eating and stuff, and uh what was it like with the ham? It was really nice. It was all really good. Her mom cooks delicious food, especially the cranberry.
It was our turkey dinner that
Yeah,
we didn't get to have for Thanksgiving.
yeah. There we go. So her mom makes really good cranberry sauce, and I was never really a cranberry sauce fan, but she makes really good cranberry sauce. I ate it, and it was so sweet, and it was so good, and I ate all the stuff there, and they had what was it, the cider or whatever it was. So we had that, and then we kind of sat there, and then they had pumpkin cake that Rachel made. I did
Pumpkin pie cheesecake.
pumpkin pie cheesecake, tongue twister. Um, we saved those because I was already kind of on the high side with my blood sugar, and I was like, if I eat this cake, then I got to inject again, and for some reason it'll just kick in. So I saved that. I didn't eat that. Um, but I mean, I went high up there anyways. But it's like I didn't even really feel it because I was so dang happy. I think I was at like 250 or 260 or something like that, and I didn't. I was like, whatever, it'll come down here, and I just jabbed some stuff in there, and just it came down eventually. But I was too busy being happy for it to even, you know. I was too busy happy with that one, so I was like, "Well, it doesn't matter here. We'll just."
Oh my goodness. Yeah, because you didn't want to get it, take your
Well, yeah,
uniform.
because it's a process, like because the way the medallions hang, like you have one up here, and then you have two under the jacket, and then you have one under the flaps on the outside. So in order to take the coat off, you got to take one off, got to unbutton, and so I didn't feel like doing any of that, so I accepted the risk with that one, and I was like, well, it'll just be for a little bit, and then once we kind of finished eating, I got changed, and then I went ahead and uh, gave myself insulin and things like that, so that way it can come down later on in the night, which it did without a problem. So it was good.
You're crazy.
I know.
So, yeah, so I'm happy.
Me too.
You make me so happy.
I know you do too.
I
It was a nice day, evening, and everything. It was good.
was like in shock. Well, because I knew, because we've been talking about it for a while, but
Hmm.
I didn't, I didn't really think it was gonna be that soon.
Hmm.
I thought I was gonna be waiting longer. So it was like a huge surprise that kid like took me from left field. Like had no idea. I did at first, but then after you changed your story or made up your little story about being pressurized and stabilizing and all this and whatnot, and I'm like, after that, I just like I have no idea. Don't know what's going on, but you're good. Uh, and then he even like got my ring size uh information from me without me even realizing it either. And then today I realized that you have actually showed me the ring months ago, and you'd asked me if I liked it or not and whatnot. And just today I just realized that I was staring at the ring, and then all of a sudden I had like this flashback, and I was like, you showed me this ring before, didn't you? And I'm like, you asked me if I liked it.
Yeah, because I was showing different ones because I wanted because uh, women have particular styles of rings. Like some girls like the princess diamond, some girls like the circle, some like the square, the whatever, and some of them like it hiked up, some of them like it flat. So I was trying to gauge. So I was gauging just kind of just casually, like, hey, look at these. These look kind of nice, kind of just like almost just like shooting the shit, talking like, look at this one, look at this one. Oh, you really like that one? Okay, say it. Boop. Oh, you like that one? Boop. And then so as I narrowed down to some more, but maybe a month later, I brought it up again. I was like, if I didn't like they were new again, I was like, hey, look at these. Look at these three I done seen. Oh, I really like that one. Gotcha. and
Sneak attack.
and then I write stuff down so I don't, because I have sometimes bad memory. So when I write things down a lot so I can remember. And she had made a I got her one ring at one of her powwows a long time ago, but it was too big. It was like a 7.5. Huge ring. I didn't know that was the ring size. I thought that was like the price or something. So she had made that comment a while ago that,
Because we got it resized.
yeah, we had it resized to a 7.
6.5.
Well, the other one, no.
No, it's a 6.5.
No, yeah, but the other one was 7.5. It was
Oh, yeah.
big. So, and you said you were about a 7, and I looked at some of the rings and I went online and I was placing them on the thing. So it was between like 6.5 and 7. So then when I brought it up, I was like, "Hey, what size is that one?" I think I can't remember how I said it, but you're like, "No, 6.5 will probably be the best one, so that way they don't slide around." And I was like, "Done, 6.5." So I got that one sorted out too. So I had to get all the stuff in line and everything, and without you knowing.
Oh, you did a good job. I don't know. You blow my mind. I don't know. It's like you know me better than myself.
No, I just pay attention.
But it throws me for a loop because I've always like wanted that because I've given it to other, past relationships, but I've never had it for myself and like that the receiving back. And so it's just like, wow, this is what it feels like. Pretty pretty amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're already talking, and I know some of you guys have already been asking. So when's the wedding, and where's it gonna be, and all these things and whatnot. So we've been talking and whatnot, and my real dream wedding has always been Hawaii, and I've always wanted to get married on the beach in Hawaii, and but I've like been going through this like battle because when my previous marriage, it was a beautiful traditional native, wedding in the mountain, and um, but it was in a whole nother thing. So, um, but if I my like dream like if I were to ever have like this, the traditional in a sense, like with the wedding dress and whatnot, not a buckskin dress, a traditional white wedding, I guess you say. Uh, I always wanted to be on the beach, but then Erik said, told me that with his previous marriage, he never had a wedding, didn't have a reception, so there was no like celebration. And so he told me that, and so that's kind of been on my mind of like, well, he deserves that, and his family deserves, to be a part of that and have that, and my family too, but more so like with you because they experienced that with me with my my previous marriage. So there was that celebration, but you didn't have that. And so I've been like going through this thing. The thing that sucks is with COVID. So it
Yeah.
makes it really hard because if you were to take COVID out of the equation, then I would love to have this huge wedding for you and like have everyone there um and whatnot. But we've really been thinking hard, and it's hard to tell what's going to happen from now. So we chose August 8th. Um, it's always like that's always been like the number 88, the magic. That's like a magic infinity number. Also, my mom's birthday, and I had asked my mom if I was like, "Mom, can we get married on your birthday? Is that okay?" She's like, "I would love to be in Hawaii on my birthday and your wedding." And so I was like, "Okay." So what we're looks like we're gonna try to do, or what we're planning or gearing more towards, is Hawaii. And family a little bit more intimate. And then whoever can come and be there, you're more than welcome to come and be there, and just let us know. We're going to send out uh like a message and things like that, a call out.
Do
um
one of those poll questions on the Facebook, or like how they ask those question things. Hey, can you come here? Put all the details, and whoever says yes, no, not no like or happy face or anything, like a yes or a no.
yeah, like
You
you
know,
have to respond.
yeah, a
um
like ain't gonna cut it.
no. And but then with doing that, I told him that what we'll do is, because we have family all over. There's family in California and Florida, Utah, Idaho, here in Portland. And so what we'll do is we'll kind of like go travel around and do like what they call as an open house reception. And that way we can be there and do something with family and those that can't travel and things like that. But then the cool thing about the virtual stuff now is that we talked about setting up a live virtual of the wedding, so that everybody can watch virtually online that can't be there. So we have already talked about doing virtual stuff with the wedding, so that those, again, that can't be there, you can still be there in a way, and
Mm-hmm.
witness, that ceremony and things like that. So I'm excited.
Me too. Mhm.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be neat. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, wear your uniform.
Yeah, I'm gonna wear it again, and then I'm gonna request that anybody who's retired or active duty or reserves, that you guys wear your dress uniform, whether it be the Army service uniform or the new Army greens, whichever one you have, um, just to kind of represent that. You know, I think it's nice to wear anyways. Beats a suit, that's for sure. Looks more blingy, uh, more professional. So that's going to be the one thing for those guys. And if you're a sheriff or a cop, wear your cop dress blue uniform. You got a uniform, wear it. Same thing for my female military sisters. Wear your uniform. Don't wear no dress. Wear your uniform, because you girls look good in uniform too. So especially when you know how to wear it the right way, and you rock it right and things like that. You guys can pull it off. And I would like, if any of you or them are able to make it, that they wear that also. Plus, you don't got to waste no money on a dress. It's free. So free, free, free. Unless you got one. If you got one, you might have to submit a request form. I might have to fill out a paper or something. But no, I'm just kidding. I would like that though. I would like any military people to kind of give it that oomph.
Yep.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
We're crazy. No. Fun.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's kind of the proposal in a nutshell of Christmas Eve. And if you want to watch the little video, it's a 2-minute video of um, me walking to him. You can't really hear much, but my little niece is kind of
Screaming.
screaming around until the end. Because we're talking and we're like crying, and
And the camera was
and
far away too,
yeah,
so
so it wasn't like it was up close, and there wasn't
yeah,
microphones and stuff like that set out.
yeah.
So but my sister did a good job on the part that she did do in recording it.
Yes, she did.
At least we got that.
Yeah.
I cry still every time I watched it so many times, and I cry every time I see it. Stupid. Make me all mushy. What the heck? As my mom would say, gag me with a spoon.
Right.
You're adorable. So, all right, guys. We're gonna check out, and we'll be back on later, and we'll be back to where we left off from the last podcast previous, and we'll pick up from that story and go on from there. So this is one of those that we talked about that every once in a while will pop on, and it'll be something completely out of line from the previous podcast. So stay tuned for the next one here in the next couple days. And Merry Christmas, everyone. Late Christmas and Happy New Year. And blessing to you guys. We'll see you later.
Bye.